So this is a 6/0 hook. That's a wide gape. Make sure that's in nice and tight. Robert the Roach brushhead and some Robert the Roach fibre. I'm using a clear mono thread, and we'll start that just in front of the hook point. A few wraps round back towards the hook point, as you can see. So we take some Robert the Roach fibre. Depends how big you want your back end, to how much you choose. I like to about that much for this particular one. And then we tweak the ends out, because the ultimate length for this is going to be around 9-10 inches. And I like to just tease out the fibres like so. Any loose ones that come out, you can just put them back into the stack like so. And obviously what that does, it gives you a nice tapered tail to the fly. Because I mean, ultimately we're looking for a bait fish type shape. And the other end, just a wee bit of teasing out of the fibre, and job's a good one. So take some Gorilla Glue clear. I love this stuff, and it dries rock hard. Just take it a bit just on the back of the shaft of the hook right there, and then place your fibre on, and just make sure, just tweak it with your thumb and forefinger like so, just so it surrounds the hook, and get a couple of wraps in there. Just pull gently. What you'll find with the Gorilla Glue as well, when you're doing this and you're wrapping this quite gently, is that it will come up into the fibre a little bit, so you'll get a good solid anchor point there. Right, so when you've done that, just twist the back end and get any loose fibres like so, and just place them back on, and a few wraps, and just repeat like so until there's no loose fibres coming out. So that's pretty much, you've got your back end of your Robert the Roach there, and this is going to be, like I said, about 9-10 inches. It's a good fly. It's a great fly for using on Cherubusca rigs, or even just on itself, because the profile is really good. So we're just hollow tying that back like so. And again, if you don't have one of these tools, and these are made by protojawn.com, I'll show you that if you want to go and get them. I'm not affiliated. Is it that way? I'm not affiliated with them. I just think it's a really good wee tool. You can of course use a pen, an empty pen as well. I'll show you. There's the empty pen, just over the hook, and that'll do exactly the same job. Right, so we fold this back, and then we put a few wraps in there. Like so. Now if you can see here, there is a little raised bit here. So I've not brought the thread all the way to the end there. The reason for that is so the thread does not slip off, because there's a little hump there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to glue that as well. We'll get some Gorilla Glue on that. And we'll just dab that around. Like I say, when that dries, that will become absolutely solid. Okay, so then you take your Robert the Roach brush, and you take the end that's got the biggest length of of empty wire, and what we do is we lay this down and we just wrap that round, bring that right back up to where you tied and glued in there. And what we're going to do, we hold it up and we're just going to pull these fibers backwards, and we're going to go around that hump, and we'll give that a couple of turns around there, and then we're just going to drop that right in front of that hump like so, and then we go up and we're going to just pull those fibers backwards, and we just continue this until we're about halfway down. And what I recommend here when you're about halfway down is to just add some more glue. I really recommend super glue. Don't recommend super glue. I recommend the Gorilla Glue, because super glue, I think it can be a wee bit smelly. Whether that's not wives' tale that fish don't like it, I don't know, but I prefer to use the Gorilla Glue clear. So we just bring that all the way back down, and we keep teasing those fibers backwards. And we just keep wrapping round, teasing the fibers. Keep wrapping round like so. So when you get to the hook eye, what to do is just keep wrapping round your brush that's left, and what this will give you a nice little head to the fly. Okay, and then we're just gonna tie that off like so. So you have this a little bit sticking up here. So what to do, an old pair of scissors, and I recommend an old pair because you're going to blunt them, is I use little wire nippers, cheap enough from Amazon or eBay, and I just cut that off and bin that. And then a few wraps round and tie off. So you have a few little extra fibers here. So what I do is just hold the fibers back, and I just add a bit of flame to it like so. Okay, and then we get some varnish in there. Like so. That'll dry pretty quickly. And you can see that lovely profile. You're not going to lose that profile in the water because it's on the brush and it's fairly stiff and it's quite densely packed, so you'll get a beautiful profile in the water with that. So we just add the eyes. Again, with glues, you can epoxy this if you want. I prefer to use the Yoo-hoo because I find once this dries, it's rock solid. And I mean, eventually, as in with all flies, you're going to lose eyes because that's just the nature of pike fishing. Okay, so I dab this on, and I dab it on all around the head. And you get an absolutely concrete head on that. Lovely. These eyes are 8mm red 3D. Again, I'll put the materials in the description of the video. And the great thing about Yoo-hoo, you've got enough time to reposition the eyes. And there you have it, an absolutely fabulous looking streamer. Robert the Roach. The other thing with this, you could use this as a fly, just as a normal fly. You can use it on a cherubusca rig, and if you use it on a cherub rig, you'll fish it this way, and you'll fish that off the bottom. Or as a normal fly, like this. And there you have it, Robert the Roach brushhead. Okay, so if you want the brushes, just give me a PM through my socials. Facebook, Dave McFluffchucker. I'm on TikTok as Dave McFluffchucker. Just drop me a message. If you're on eBay, I sell the brush heads on eBay as well. A very reasonable price. So there you go. Cheers.